Issue 235. We start out with Sonic trapped in glass over Emerald Ocean, and he says that if he breaks past the glass, he'll fall and drown. Then Tails flies his plane and he lands on it, and Sonic says, "Tails, little buddy, sometimes you're not a complete waste of space after all." I know he said some really horrible things in earlier issues of this comic. Like one time he said, "Occasionally you do have your uses." This feels like an exaggeration of that. I mean, Tails hasn't gotten kidnapped in forever, and yet he still talks as if he's the exact same useless idiot he started out as, with no acknowledgement or awareness of his character development. It's a wonder Tails doesn't start crying from being talked to like that, or at least have the slightest snarky, passive-aggressive remark. Again, I'm more fascinated by this behavior of Sonic than angry and hating him. This franchise is kind of stagnating with so many similar continuities, and he is an anti-hero after all, but still, he can really seem like a monster sometimes. Then Sonic impatiently complains to Tails about not saving him faster, so again, not being too grateful, and he says they only just picked up his energy readings. He warns that there's something bad happening on Flicky's Island. Go figure, where Eggman's base used to be. And then we see Rouge talking to Zachary on board the Death Carrier. Zachary explains that his plan is to fly over Mobius and operate his Chaos Siphon, which Fleetway has too. It'll disturb all of the chaos energy occurring naturally on the planet, leading to an explosion, because the siphon absorbing energy like it's made to do will do that apparently. Knuckles finally is seen riding an Eggmobile again, taking it to Flicky's Island where all the emeralds are. What if somebody mistook him for being an Eggman supporter? Kentobor in his handheld form tells Knuckles that his sensors are telling him the emerald should be right here, and then Shadow attacks Knuckles. He does have a good point actually. While Knuckles says the emeralds belong to the Echidnas, Shadow points out that only one person in the history of the Chaos Emeralds looked upon them as anything other than a relic or weapon, Kentobor. And Knuckles is holding a device with the original Kentobor's mind in it right now! You'd think Shadow would be introduced to him and realize he doesn't have to do anything that Eggman wants. But he is insane by this point. But still, like, this is about as glaring as nobody telling Silver that Fiona betrayed the Freedom Fighters and Archie when he was looking for a traitor. It's totally blind. Sonic then surrounds Shadow with a whirlwind from below. As Sonic fights Shadow, lecturing him, Kentobor tells Knuckles that he's picking up movement underneath the island somehow. Shadow says that must be Zachary as his Death Carrier rises from below the ground. I almost said Death Chamber. Sonic falls off as Tails in the plane says that Sonic must be on board the Death Carrier. In the next story, we start out seeing a bag being brought in a wagon over the bridge to the land of beyond, which I immediately assumed contained the heroes because why else would we be shown it? The Goblin says their papers check out while lampshading how dangerous falling off the bridge is, and Tails actually points out in the wagon that it sounded like that Goblin really thought they were making real progress. You don't say! Moraine insists that the Goblins are the ones that benefit from stealing their grain and ousting their workers. Workers? That sounds like a "they're stealing my jobs" paranoid complaint. Like, yeah, that's what happens with immigration. More competition. No duh. Errol arrives and a Goblin commander tells him to stay out of his way. Errol asks him if he wants peace, and he says that he used to serve under Trog, and he somehow agrees with the idea that the other people need to toe the line, or the Goblins would crush them. He calls the truce a cowardly pact that Trog wouldn't have done. Wouldn't it be nice if it was, like, established that this guy was, like, old? To justify him being old-fashioned? Like, 50? While my first instinct is to assume this is boringly vilifying all of the Goblin Kingdom, really this only makes this guy in particular evil. And the one who replaced Trog as a leader look better by comparison. Errol's thoughts explain that he accepted an offer to be the constable of the Nameless Zone to encourage people to work towards peace, and he sadly wonders if that's even possible with jerks like him around. Sure it is, it'll just take some time, like a century. After he's told to remember his place, Tails is spotted, and Moraine tells him to get the satchel and leave. After Moraine gets arrested by her brother, the story ends with Tails discovering dynamite in the satchel. Yeah, that's not an act of terrorism, nothing is. I'm glad he's worried about this. It's self-aware of the writing. This issue is by Ed Reynolds. The first story has Sonic break out of the glass trap above Emerald Ocean just to land on Tails' plane, where instead of being incredibly grateful for Tails saving him from drowning, he says an uncharacteristically dickish line even for him, instead of just thanking Tails for saving his life, and complains about not doing it faster. Then he gets brought to Flicky's island, like Knuckles and Kintobor, who all get attacked by Shadow as he leaves with the Death Carrier in a plan to destroy the world with the Chaos Siphon. Seriously, just introduce Shadow to Kintobor. Like, Kintobor may be an AI, but he's still based on his old teacher. Well, although I guess Shadow doesn't really deserve it after he killed billions of people by destroying the Special Zone. I wish at least that got pointed out. The second story has Moraine complain about the goblin immigrants providing more competition for jobs, and talk as if they're stealing their food by having to eat it to live. At least that's what I'm seeing from her behavior. She and Tails hide in a bag to infiltrate the land beyond, and after Errol sees a goblin who's nostalgic for the Trog days instead of wanting peace, Tails is told to use a satchel with dynamite in it, which would probably kill a lot of innocent people. And I hope his reaction here is implying he won't use it, because he refused to shoot Eggman in a dream sequence, and he's the ultimate evil. Moraine really doesn't look like she's right with her goal here, which I hope is the point. She still seems like a badass female warrior to me, but she's always seemed hateful. I'm still waiting for a reasonable reason for them to hate the goblins, aside from them just being goblins.